Yes.
Okay, welcome to the day 3, and we are welcoming our first speaker today, Sonia Sokolova. I would like to share my screen and show how you can find more about it. Are you seeing the right screen? Become a content marketing rockstar with zero content. Sonia, confirm you see the right screen.
Yes, I do.
Perfect. So saying that, that's the topic number 3 for day 3. It's such a numerology right here, and I think it's a good sign. I'm encouraging you to learn more about Sonia and to hear her talk. Each time when you hit to learn more about speakers, you can find how to connect with them using all credentials they provided. Feel free to connect with them using LinkedIn, Twitter, or learning more about company. Or you can always join our Slack channel and find Sonia there. Saying that, I will stop sharing and I will introduce Sonia. Sonia Sokolova is a top-rated marketing coach, speaker, and strategist, internationally known. She has over 25 years client digital marketing experience. She helped countless corporations use web and social media to drive online visibility and generate leads. She is a senior manager in global content partnership at Targetings and a head marketing in global publishing houses. Multi-client, multi-jobs,
Multitask, multi-client manager. Thank you,
multi-hat.
Julia. It's a pleasure being here, and thank you for inviting me to your amazing fest. I really appreciate what you're doing, and I'm a fan of Julia specifically. And hello, everyone. I'm Sonia. I'm enjoying my experience as a marketer and a product manager. And I have a strong publisher background to be mentioned. So I do many workshops and organize many hackathons for the publishers and for social marketers and those who's interested in marketing automation. So the most frequent question I'm asked when I start all this and when I come to some business to offer them like some of my services would be, okay, we are ready to go to this marketing automation. We are ready to use this marketing approach, but how do we start? And where the hell do we get this content? So I'm usually terribly surprised because for me as a publisher, having content is something obvious. But when you see it closely, you understand that the majority of the companies would not see the potential sources and the potential benefits of having marketing strategies. So let's start with that today. And I'm going to share the screen with the presentation. And let's talk a bit about content marketing as is and how we automate this and how we actually get the content when we don't have any. And I suggest us to start with by defining what is content marketing and why content is so important. So content marketing helps you to attract more customers at a lower cost by drawing attention to your company and services, by telling news and stories and sharing your expertise. Content marketing can benefit a lot a company of any size. A startup, a small and medium service or business, a large corporation, a well-known brand. And a startup of small business can use content marketing to attract customers, build trust, credibility, and maybe connect with more people, more customers, and explain how complex products or service works. A well-known brand uses content marketing to get closer to its customers, to its existing customer base, and to dispel misconceptions and myths, better respond to requests from different customer segments, and for sure to increase the frequency and the volume of purchases, and also reduce customer churn. So the important things to remember is that content serves here as a bait, as an attraction. So it draws people to your business, which gives you the opportunity to convert them later to customers. But quite rarely, customers would purchase anything on this first step. So what do we actually use typically in content marketing? We use videos, photos, and texts. Let me show you the market. So what do marketers think? During the survey conducted among global marketers in mid-2019, 91% of responders said they were in fact already using content marketing as a part of their content marketing strategy or as a part of their promotional efforts. What is more, 77% also said that they had a content marketing strategy written as a document. The reason is simple. Using content marketing to attract customers turned out to be 38% cheaper than any other type of marketing. And according to the survey, the number of leads increased almost 3 times once the company started using them. In 2020, according to the State of Content Marketing, it's a research by SEMrush, 94% of marketers across 39 countries already are investing in content marketing. In fact, 68% planned on increasing their budget this year or in 2021, or like keeping it the same. So despite the challenges with SEO, with the challenges with the platforms, like 42% marketers said that this improves the SEO approach, and it's always a concern. Social media algorithm changes and all the media difficulties and the hurdles to turning content into revenue stream, the industry is currently growing. It's only growing. Okay, so how is it important? And here is the time to talk about the investment itself, like why you should do it. So like 60% marketers reported changing their targeting and messaging strategy, and 64% adjusted their editorial calendar and change content distribution in social networks and promotion channels. And about 91% of marketers believe that they should hire some dedicated person to run their marketing activities and social networks or whatsoever. So my question is, if you're running a business, if you're an owner, or if you're an entrepreneur, whom would you support first? Like it's your own business. Would you support your own business or Mark Zuckerberg? And it turns out that 91% people are supporting Mark Zuckerberg. Like they are investing in others' business, in the business of social networks, which is absolutely crazy to me. Like sounds really weird. But we cannot actually get rid of that. We cannot just say, okay, we are not interested anymore. We are not investing in that, because content marketing really influences lots of KPI of our own business, like leads, web traffic. It's not just some symbolic model. It's an attitude that drives revenue. And each company or person needs a different branding strategy and different goals for their business. So to take, it takes times to define the real goals and define how we actually use this content marketing. Like if we see that product or service brings value to customers, but it's difficult or impossible to explain, some complicated SaaS business, for example. Like we cannot just explain what we're doing in one short pager, then the content marketing can be a solution that opens the way to many customers, right? And the percentage of entertaining content is decreasing in comparison with the educational content for brands recently. So content marketing, as I mentioned, affects all the basic KPIs, brand awareness, lead generation, web traffic, discoverability in social networks, and so on and so on. So there are lots of benefits of content marketing. And when we see how we can actually influence the performance indicator, we understand that we need some strategy, right? We need to understand how exactly we are going to promote the brand, where, and how or what kind of problem we are solving using this type of marketing. And here comes some tech stuff. When we are discussing where to take the company, the content from, it sounds a bit complicated to us because we would like to, on the other hand, spend less time on that. On the other hand, we would like to, to make it more consistent, more regular. So the problem is that, okay, you're probably well aware of this common content marketing model. It's most commonly used with social media marketing, but it also works for SEO. Only the standard model, there is usually 5 stages. And there is where some misunderstanding lies among those who start doing content marketing. The problem is that the majority of brands just give up on 5th stage, like selling. They understand that they cannot just go into sales once they start posting something. And they are leaving their social profiles unattended, or their blogs unattended, and it's just not because the marketing didn't work well. The reason may be a sudden success, some flurry of calls, which does not give you the opportunity to continue your job, to continue posting, but forces you to concentrate on your business. Therefore, I added this 6th point just to remind specifically that if you take this road, this will require some consistency, some daily routine. And during my workshops, I talk a lot about that, but people always forget about that, which is a shame. So let's talk about consistency today as well. The content. So the standard 80-20 rule isn't wrong and works for the majority of brands. Like 20% of your content should be dedicated to sales and 80% of content should be dedicated to something else. But let's not turn this into an overall guideline for everyone. I will show you how content marketing drives sales with 0 sales call to action. The more value-driven content you share, the more customers are involved. And there are 3 simple steps to succeed that I would like to show you. So the most common marketing goals that you probably have is to create some stable revenue stream and some stable content stream to support this revenue stream as well. I see many people entering the room, so probably Julia, could you please let them in? Okay, so this year, 79% of marketers are reported generating more quality leads within this content. So our goal is to define the correct feed, to find the correct content stream, to connect your profiles, specifically adding some blog platforms, some new social network platforms, and other types of content distribution channels, and establish the simple rules, like what kind of content are we going to share in those channels. Here comes the planning. Well, honestly, I hate planning more than everything else, but I hate it even more when my plans do not come true. In content marketing, this happens quite often. You start posting, you are very excited, and then something happens. You are either not so efficient, or there's this sudden spike of calls and you are overwhelmed with that. So there is some automation that comes in handy. And I will talk about automation a lot today. So we need to define if there is a content source somewhere that is updated regularly. And we use those updates to create our regular automated posts. You can check some of my previous webinars. There are lots of them on YouTube where I talk about content automation. And I'm going to share some simplest way to show how it works. So what we need to do is to schedule and increase the frequency of posts using third-party content or the content that has been stored somewhere. For example, we can use several types of content pieces using our own content streams. Let's imagine that we have some catalog, or we have some database regarding our, some content that describes the product that we are selling. So we could create some dynamic library using this basic data, basic descriptions, and turn them into daily updated or weekly updated schedule. What we need to do is to apply the mapping that helps us to define which type of content best fits better for the exact social network or some exact media platform, and then define and prepare all the pieces of content like texts, video, and images. So what we're doing, basically, we are creating some separate libraries and then combine them into something like daily updated RSS or daily updated feed. And I'll show you how we can basically do this. So first, we need to create social profiles or link social profiles. And here are some points to think about. First, we need them to be connected to some content source that we have. So we need to establish those connections between all of your social profiles and all the content that you have in some simple steps. I'll show them later. Then you need to understand that posting content itself doesn't necessarily mean that you would attract customers. So you need to spare some time and some efforts for promotion. And that's not the topic that I'm going to touch today. And then you are creating the engaging content. Like we need to transform the content that we have. For example, some testimonials that we collect by emails that are written by our customers, or some frequently asked questions, or some catalog. So we need to enrich this content, adding some small tips, some small pieces of content that are more common for each social network that we use. This could be unique messages for example, for Instagram. Like in Instagram, you would choose more photos and videos, some more dynamic content. In Facebook, you would choose more texts or more communication, more call to actions. And in LinkedIn, you would use more business information, right? And here's the case study. Here's the very brave lady that started doing this in August. And I helped her to define her own content strategy. And what she's doing this manually. So it's a clinical counseling company. A client of mine, she's specializing in couples and family therapy. And in August, she approached me with the request to help her establish the management of her brand on social media. So for the moment, she had 0 social profiles. And she and I have built a strategy based on what she likes best. So what you need to do is to define what you like. And she likes to share her professional expertise and educate people. So she also enjoys reading and shares some book quotes. So therefore, we built a sales funnel, at one end of which there is a small pieces of useful content, like quotes or answers to the most frequently asked questions. And they serve as an invitation to free webinars where she talks about her practice and giving advice. And then it sends the listener working materials. And as a result, she gets a steady stream of customers. And with a little or no advertising, she's got a huge spike of customers. So this content to educate appeals to the customer's rationality, to their ability to understand what's happening, and she helps them a lot. But as a result, here you see the real statistics of what was happening right in a month after she started that. But the most important thing is that she's got this consistent and consistently growing customer base and revenue stream. Here's another example, when it starts with the content, this can be automated. So once you start using any platform, and I'm going to talk about targeting as well today, we help to not only to streamline this content feeds mainly, but also to deliver the content to a larger audience and to specify what kind of requests and what kind of response does the audience have. And here is another example. It's the charity network, Pottery Life, and this mission is to provide resources for advanced professional training awareness and to help children in need, children suffering from cancer. They run multiple educational campaigns in order to help educate pediatric cancers parents and those who's helping the charity, and also there for sure fundraising. So here's how it works. We defined several types of content streams on their site. We did not create any specific content, and we just turned some of the chapters on their own sites into posts. So we just enriched this with videos and images that they actually have. Like every company would have some images stored on their hard drive. And we just turned this into automatic posts. Here's a cool example for magazines and newspapers. As an additional channel for generating revenues, like hidden advertising, many magazine newspapers have paid placement when they advertise local businesses or global businesses. And the problem with magazines is actually that they once advertise some business on their website or in other media, and the content ends there. With our solution and with all the types of automation that we use, magazines and newspapers can distribute such content automatically and regularly. So they would use the evergreen approach. And this content reuse helps a lot, not only with advertising, but with, with audience retention. So at the same time, entertainment content can be created on the basis of anything, including like videos or your customers' videos as well, or customers' postings, customers' photos. Here's another inspiring example, thematic posts that are based on catalog. It's a jazz label, and what they have is actually a huge catalog of music. We turn them into automatic posts, adding some call to action, some links, as you see, and actually transforming all the pictures and all the announcements, and all their cover photos into posts. That's simple. This one is one of the most complicated. This is Boundless. It's a boundless immigration company, which doesn't have content at all, as they claimed, but it turned out that they have lots of useful documents. So the thematic posts can be taken from, you never just imagine what type of content you can use for that. But here we turned into content tons of documentation, tons of official notices, and tons of official announcements that they have. So we turned them into document archive. And then we picked some smaller pieces, like first sentences from each document, to create a database of the future posts. We enriched them with the links and some images taken from the free gallery. And here we are. We've got this stable updates, stable posts in social networks based on that. Another inspiring example, it's a media based on Vine catalog, and some expertise, some frequently asked questions on the customer side. So they would run some quizzes and some trivia for their customers, but they do not do this regularly. What we do is actually we add some upsell options here. We added some call to actions that are describing the possibility of wine tasting or purchasing the bottle of wine as an addition to some existing order, and it works greatly. But what works the most is that they started changing the whole structure. So there are now not only one winery or two wineries, but there's a winery network participating in that. So we help them to grow a community. And here's how Q&A works. They've got some simple answers to the questions, which can be simply recorded on your voice recorder, or they can be typed in. But then comes the platform that uses this question and answers approach. And we publish this each Friday on the social network with enriched content inside each post. It works beautifully. And there's zero management and zero content approach here. Here is another inspiring example, like how the media can be an additional channel for generating revenues from advertising, hidden advertising. Many magazines and newspapers had paid placements, and when they advertise local business, they just have they experience lack of content. So with our solution, newspapers and magazines can distribute such content based on catalog, which greatly pleases those advertisers and looks quite human, quite natural. And at the same time, entertainment content can be created on the basis of anything, including your catalog positions. So this is the new trade that is being created. Yeah, another inspiring example is thematic posts, say about weekend events. Any platform can generate such posts automatically. So you just need to link your social network to some source like entertainment magazine or entertainment newspapers, and pick some keywords that help you to promote your own brand within those news posts. Yeah. So basically, you can deliver your own content to the customers that are interested in picking them, showing them to some beloved media sources and media brands. And here is how it works, like inside the platform. I'm showing targeting only because I'm using this a lot. So as I mentioned, you need to pick a relevant media source. You need to pick the RSS feed or any other type of feed, link this to the platform or any social media that you're using, and link the social media network as well. And then establish the basic rules, like what do we publish when it's Sunday? What do we publish during the Christmas season or any holiday season? What would be the trigger that helps platform to understand, to define what type of message we need to publish right now? Should we publish right away, or should we pre-authorize all the posts that we are going to share? So this all helps us to establish the stable connections between us and our customers. They would understand what to expect. Like one of the labels that we are working for uses this throwback Thursday approach. For example, on each Thursday, they share some piece of content. And the customers are already interested in having those updates. They are waiting for them. So this helps to grow their retention greatly. So here is the regional media house. When we started working with this Premier Media Group, we actually linked one exact magazine to some exact winery. We ended up with linking several wineries to one exact media and the same exact magazine, and they use different type of content with no competition, with no interference with the competitors. And one manager actually runs dozens of those local magazines for the clients. Just imagine how much time does it help you to spend to spare. Here are some examples of pre-approved posts. Of course, if you don't trust the platform at the beginning, if you don't trust the whole automation approach, you would like to test first. So what we actually suggest our customers to do is to pick some pre-approved strategy at first, and then turn it into some automated post on the stage 2. So this way we help to establish more stable connections between the platform and the owner of the brand. This helps to improve the whole post strategy, the whole post view, and also it helps us with A/B testing as well, like picking the feed, testing the approach, and then posting. Yeah, so how exactly we help to enrich your content strategy? We offer and we suggest you to pick third-party content for that. So not only collecting your tiny pieces of content from your hard drives or from your emails, but also using the third-party brands like magazines and newspapers to enrich your own posts. Yes, this would look like as forward posts or some not quite natural to you at the first glance, but then you realize that it helps you greatly to drive the retention. Here's the example. There are several companies that basically don't have that much stories, that much content. And what they do is they turn third-party stories and news into some posts that are discussable, that are popular, and that help them to drive their own retention. So if you see, those are all third-party content pieces. Something about platforms, and I would love to talk more about them, but we are kind of short of time. Which platform actually helps you to do this? Fully automated targetings and social floor. There are also semi-automated planners which help a lot, and it's Hootsuite, Sprout Social, Buffer, and Social Oomph. And as I mentioned, there's also a fully manual approach which help you just to establish some basic connections and to, for example, arrange some basic post rules, adding some emojis, adding some hashtags, some library of mention, and so on. So I would suggest you using and concentrate on those which are in the middle and on the right for sure. And if it sounds kind of complicated to you, just try to use this first simple planner like Buffer and try to add some content marketing generator like Q, or you could test targetings for sure. And I would be happy to assist you in switching to fully hands-free automation. This actually allows your team to save time and efforts on routine tasks. And you will have all of your posts auto-scheduled, increase the frequency of posts in social networks, while increasing the number of your profiles in social networks and enrich your audience, right? And for sure, it also helps to streamline your editorial like posting workflow using automatic and manual approval publication scenarios. And I'd like to mention also the real-time content prioritization, like day and night, weekends, and all the shifts whatsoever. This helps you to enrich content and post variety by utilizing the most efficient content scenarios. So for different social networks, you would use different RSS feed, or you would use a different database and different approach. And as I mentioned, third-party content and media sources and evergreen content, this helps you a lot. So what you need to understand is to define what kind of content do you have, where do you store it, how to pick it up and how to organize this, and how to start sharing. That's it. And our platform saves an average of 90% of time and effort while providing better social media results by expanding the content reach and increasing audience engagement. But not only that, you can just see the results, ongoing results, and you can test every approach that you are trying to use, which is always useful, right? So you would get the real response from the real audience right away. And yes, I would be happy to assist you with the setup and to give you and to grant you a free trial. So you can just connect with me, and there's no obligations. I'm not selling anything. But what I would love you to do, and what I would encourage you to do, is to sit down to understand what kind of content your company aggregates, and what kind of content you would like to share to connect with your customers, to define the tone of voice, and to define the whole approach, and start sharing, start educating and entertaining your customers. And you will see this promised huge spike. I promise this will work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sonia. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
If we have questions, please put them in the chat. I do personally have a question, tons actually.
Yep.
First of all, does it mean having zero content, you'd better to have a better budget or big budget to hire content strategists to do all this automation and set it up, or set it up once?
Okay, so my main approach and my main goal is to reduce this management to zero. I personally started using targeting platform 6 years ago. And at the beginning, they actually hired some dedicated manager for that. She was collecting some content. She was trying to communicate this. She was trying to, constantly post something. And she was really a nice girl, but she couldn't just handle this. Not because she was non-professional, she was, but we spent even more time in communicating with her as a manager, trying to explain what we are doing here. So what I did is actually I turned my existing news stream into some automated posts, and at the next day I fired her.
Poor girl.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I know how.
But as a business,
yeah, how
it
rude
was
this sounds. I know how brutal this sounds, but at the same time, I realized that focusing on engagement, on driving revenue and audience would be a better approach for each social manager. Social media manager should be focused more on audience communication and retention than
Instead of
on
content.
posting. Yes.
Automate your posting using your existing content. What
Exactly.
if you do not have existing content? It's good for media because they constantly produce content. That's their business, content production. How
Well,
about small businesses?
well, that's what I mentioned, in that any small business actually has the content if they dig into their own testimonials from customers, if they dig into some networks, and so like their own networking would help a lot. And media helps a lot. Like every business,
Monitoring.
yes, every business is a part of some market niche, right? Every
And they're
business is a
experts.
part of, yes, is a part of something bigger, some bigger community. So sharing the news and what's important for this community and automating this would help them a lot.
I believe sometimes you need external experts to become aware about what resources do you really have.
I'm always ready to help, and the only thing that we need to start this is to define what actually is the brand about, what's the goal, and what would be the most frequently asked questions. Like I always suggest starting with this FAQ section and FAQ approach, because answering those questions would turn the whole project into less complicated structure, less complicated content stream, right? When you're asked about your business, it's not actually an elevation pitch. Like elevator pitch would require at least tons of one pages to prepare. Here you have endless time, you have endless, social network tail, I'd say, as I describe this. And you have enough content to explain what you're doing, especially for complicated products, especially for complicated services. This is an asset. This is the right time to explain what you're doing, to break it down into smaller pieces of content and just sharing them consistently.
I'm wondering, shall we just explore a couple use cases? For example, the previous talk was done by inventor Stephen Lewis. He is educator, computer science teacher, inventor, and it's really hard for me to think about what kind of content. He is always inventing. He has some code available, and he is sharing this on his website. How we can use
Okay.
that?
Okay, just give me a moment. And yeah. Okay, so I'll show some business cases for sure, and I'll start with what's inside, like how the content curation tool works. So when you start, as I mentioned, you need to first to define the content source, and then you need to apply some simplest filters and apply some simplest rules. So you need first to define what kind of types of content you have, right? And what kind of categories of those content you have. And you need to create some sample posts for sure. So you need to understand what's your ideal post and ideal approach that you're going to use. And then the content transformation rule comes on the next step. So you need to choose the rules that are applicable to your specific business, which means once you pick let's imagine you have some XML with some data. And this data shows that, for example, there are some updates of your catalog. You've got some new positions in your catalog coming next week, for example, or they have already come. And you've got some new products or new services in your catalog. So you need to understand how to communicate this. Like, hooray, we've got some new brand dresses in our shop. Or we've got some new updates of our product. We need to define what kind of description we set. Where do we take the image from? Is it the image that describes the product, or is it something like we don't yet have any product, but we have some link to the brand? Or we would have some link to the image library that we could use just to describe some non-specific SaaS product. Like, how would you describe the product that actually, let's say, is selling some VR or like some, help me, some TV enriching experience apps? How would we sell it? Do we show the picture of VR? Do we sell the picture of TV? Do we actually pick some abstract picture? So we need to understand and to establish those rules. And then once we define the post format, we need to test it. So the A/B testing approach would work a lot. So it's the beginning, and then you would see the results right away in the reporting tools. Like, we could post 2 different posts, and here is why A/B testing works greatly on those types of marketing. Like, you would publish 2 different posts, and you would see the result right away. You would see how it works in different social networks, how it works for different audience, how the different types of posts work, how the different images would work. And for me, this is a great approach that helps marketers to be absolutely confident in the, the whole strategy, the whole structure that they're building. The reporting, what does it show, and how the dashboard would help you to define this. So you need first to track the existing scheduled posts. You need to define how many previews do you have, how many clicks to call to actions do you have, and what would be the response of your site. So you would like to mainly link this to some Google Analytics or some other platform that helps you to track the traffic, right? Then you would like to, well, maybe you might like to add some specific call to actions for a specific audience. And then you would like to add some specific statistics and some specific rules for the statistics collection to define, is this traffic really useful for the whole business? or it's just a wrong audience which just come and go, right? So you can use this data as a massive for the future public posts, but also for the company and for their internal reports as well. Yeah. Here's, by the way, your promo code.
Okay. One last trial. This sounds amazing.
Yep.
What I would like to do next. First of all, I'm excited to see Sonia in meditation mode, solving the problem right here, right now for the specific case. Like that's what I would do. And you see her in action. That's so cool.
Yeah, I would
Really
love
powerful.
to share my experience, and I'm always happy to help. So please drop me a message in any social networks or use my email. I'll be happy to communicate with you. And also I can help to define your own content strategy. Like I could just show the possibilities of getting some defining some content sources specifically for your business.
This is high level expertise. Really, I encourage you to take advantage of this. I assume you're offering 30 minutes free consultation or something like that.
Yeah, of course.
Take advantage of Open Hub promo code right here, right there.
Yes, please. Always happy to share.
One more question. It's my personal question. I am really curious.
Go ahead.
If there is any way how you can utilize user-generated content, let's pick the use case for community building. And different communities are using different tools. In our case, for example, we're using Slack, Discord. Yes, we're using social media. We're picking or collecting the data from all of these things. How we can turn it into the content? Do you see it's to be able to be automated?
Yes, for sure. So my first question to you would be, where do you actually store this content? And can it be, can it be transferred into something like an open folder or some XML document or some regular updated feed?
Hackers in the room. Thank you. This is wonderful starting point.
Yeah,
actually,
so start with storing this content.
Right there, this is the tip of advice, where to start. Start storing, collecting your content, even user-generated one.
I'll give you the best example that I have. One of my clients started with collecting the testimonials on Google Maps because he's a local business. He's a very small, tiny business. And what he did is actually he collected all the nice words that were written to him by his customers and converting them into real blog posts. He also used the mention approach. So he started mentioning the customers because it's a tiny business and it's a tiny, small, small network. So he knows his customers best. He started mentioning them, saying that here are some nice words written by this exact person. And what he realized and what he discovered is that on the next step, he would get this giant spike of new coming customers. Just because the community values appreciation.
Secret sauce right here. Thank you, Sonia. It was just, wow. Eye-opening for me, at least, and I think for a few of our attendees, at least. Thank you, Sonia, so much.
Maybe some more questions from the audience? No?
I would stop right here because we have time constraints.
Okay.
You're reachable.
Thank you. Thank you very much once again, and thank you for inviting me, Julia. It was a pleasure.
Make the screenshot. Take your promo code.
Take your promo code, make a screenshot, and I will truly share this with Julia right after the webinar.
We will always connect you.
Bye.
Thank you, Sonia. See you around. Okay, I stop. No, I didn't.